Without further ado, I give it over to Saket.
Thanks for that intro, Anushka. To cut all that long story and make it very short, I started preparing for NID, and that was a very conscious decision that I didn't go for my master's in engineering, and I chose to do master's in designing. And that time, I gave attempts to both NID as well as IDC, and fortunately I could clear both of them. And when I was doing those exams and doing all that preparation and everything, when I look back now as a professional designer, I feel there are so many things which are not directly taught in your design school or design coaching or things like that. And there are so many avenues where you can excel and show your creativity and increase your chances of cracking these design exams. So today we'll be specifically talking about them. Just to complete my experience, I'll again go back to going back to NID. I chose NID because I thought it has more creative angle to their design education. And then after that, uh, attempted everything, gave everything to all the design education. I could win some competitions as well, where I got an opportunity to represent NID at Art Center, which is in USA. All that happened. Then later, I understood that my true passion, again under automobile design, it lied in motorcycle designing, and that's why I pursued. And then I ended up getting a job in Honda, where I worked for roughly 4.5 years or 5 years. And after that, uh, call it some kind of a calling or something like that, because I did my engineering also from Pune. I did my job in Pune, and I thought maybe it's a time to come back to Pune. And that's why just before COVID, I ended up coming back to Pune. I joined Bajaj as a senior designer. And yeah, I absolutely love it here. The kind of work I get to, express, and going to office every day is a lot of fun. So today, coming back to this session. So today, why I told all that story is the only intention behind telling all that story is that anybody and anyone who has a true passion or a calling for designing can become a designer. That's what I feel. Preparation is one part of it, but I think there are many things unconsciously we keep on doing as a passionate, aspiring designer, which is going to help us a lot in our design exams. Now, I know your design NID exam, at least. It's on 24th of December. Anushka, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, it's
24th,
on 24th. Yes.
24th, right?
Yeah,
So
right
that's
before Christmas.
right before Christmas. It's a good thing because you'll be able to enjoy Christmas and
Absolutely.
there
Yeah, definitely.
at a more peaceful pace.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe
Mhm.
because you have, like, all of these guys have only 20 days, roughly less than 20 days
Yeah.
left. So this part or this time, it's not only about practicing or revising
Mm.
all the concepts they have learned till now. It's also about optimizing efforts so that they can increase their chances of getting through all these premium colleges drastically. So what
Hmm.
I mean by that is when you go to the exam, there are so many students. So I have been teaching students for almost 4 5 years, I guess now, and
Oh, wow.
many a times it's very common actually. Many a times I come across students who have excellent skills, excellent potential to be a designer, but at that moment of exam, they end up doing some stupid mistakes, which
Yeah.
which ends up killing their chances of getting into design or
Tell
their dream college.
tell me about it. I'm getting nightmares now that I
It's,
failed my exam and I've not even attempted it yet.
yeah, that's why. So today's session is all about how one can optimize his or her efforts and ace whatever they can in these 20 odd days, or let's say 17 18 days, so that their chances of getting into designing or their dream colleges increases exponentially. So,
Yeah.
so I'll tell you a couple of examples which I think will set the foundation for this discussion, I guess. So that's the one thing where I meet a lot of students with excellent skills and potential end up messing up at that final moment of exam, and
Mm.
they just lose their chance of getting into their dream college. There are
Mm.
so many students who also believe that just working hard is going to help them a lot. So there is a very, because see, I have done my engineering as well, and then I have done my designing, and being a professional designer for more than 8 years, now I understand that design education is drastically different from any other field out there, especially engineering. So, or 11, 12. So you basically, what you do is you have the syllabus, you have the books, you read, you mug them up, you go
Mm.
to the coaching, they will teach you how to answer these questions, they'll teach you formulas and everything. And
Mm.
finally, you end up following the exact same thing, and
Yeah.
then you end up scoring very well in that final exam.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in design, it's entirely different. I think the common things are going to be so boring. The common answers give you 100 marks in your engineering or 11, 12th exams, board
Yeah.
exams. Whereas in design, if you give a very common sort of answer, you're going to get like the least amount of marks. So that is a huge difference between the approach itself. So, so many a times students, because they are coming from this background, and I have done these
Mm-hmm.
mistakes when I was attempting for the design exams. So
Mm-hmm.
so these are the kind of misconceptions I think I want to break. And without any further ado, let me share my screen, because I have prepared a very short, crisp presentation for all of you, where I'll be talking about what are these things which you can do to optimize your chances of getting into design colleges. All right. I
Okay.
hope my audio, video, everything is clear. Anushka, can
Yes.
you just confirm that?
Yes, yes, it's crisp.
Okay.
We can see the screen as well.
Okay, perfect. So, so this is the first slide, guys. Okay, and this is where it all starts. This is where my session, this next half an hour, is going to start. And I want your absolute attention for these things, because these are things which are not going to require any additional efforts. But I can promise, if you do these things, if you follow these things, at least this is going to increase your chances by 50, 60%. So this is a very, what do you say, very good ratio of your effort to the result. So just follow this, listen to this very carefully. Uh, Half an hour, just give it to me, and then later you can decide if you agree it or not. So I think when I think about it, when I think about design exams, when I think about cracking design exams, the best way to ace your chances of getting, or ace your, potential, is to avoid being stupid. So just don't be stupid. Now let me tell you what do I mean by that. Okay. Now I'll tell you what are the common mistakes which students do, and because of which they end up messing up their chances of getting in. So first uh, is getting disqualified. Now every year, every college, every design exam, they have an opportunity to change their rules and regulations. I have seen a lot of students who prepare for these design exams for 2 years, 3 years, and all, and they have gone through all the PYQs, previous year question papers, and gone to some elite design coaching institutes and everything. They have done their, mock tests and things like that, and they feel that they know everything about design exams. And what do they do is they get the question paper, and they are so restless they don't even follow or read the regulations which are given on the first page itself. They are so restless, they are so confident that now is their chance to prove that they can ace this exam. They will just skip the rules and regulation part. Now, rules and regulations are very, very sensitive, because you never know to which or to what kind of an examiner your paper is going to land. So, if, let's say, it's very commonly kind of a rule for all these design exams, they say that using wet colors are not allowed. And if you use watercolors because you love the medium, or you use markers, or you use alcohol markers, I'm saying, or you use some kind of, acrylic colors or things like that, or, those ink pens and everything. So because it's a wet medium and your paper lands up in hands of an examiner who is very particular about rules, he is not gonna see what you have attempted. He is not gonna see the efforts you have put into answering the question paper. He's just gonna look at it that you have not followed the rules and regulations, and he's gonna disqualify you. And every year, as I said earlier, they keep on shuffling these rules and regulations. So the common kind of rules are that you can't use wet colors. Smudging can spoil the paper. I have seen many students using these Apsara pencil or Nataraj pencils, and they use 4B, 6B pencils. And when they, sketch at that moment, probably the sketch will look nice and clean. But when they'll fold it, they'll submit it to the examiner, that is gonna get cramped into a bunch of other exam papers. The papers are gonna rub onto each other. All these things are gonna happen. And then finally, when it is gonna land to your examiner's hands, it's gonna be a completely messed up situation. And I have seen these papers. Okay, so whatever I am telling you today, it's all through my experience. So just trust me on this. Okay. Then I have seen people using very hard pencils, and what it does is, when you use very hard pencils, it will leave a lot of engraved marks on it, and when you try to erase them, it is gonna spoil the paper quality. It is gonna, many a times it might end up tearing your paper. So all these things are gonna leave a very bad impact on the examiner's mind. So the first common mistake or first common stupidity you might do to yourself is getting disqualified. So I recommend you guys, no matter how much you are aware of all the rules and regulation, first read all the rules. Even though they are common, even though you know them, just read them. Uh, it's okay to spend like couple of minutes on this, because later you can't undo things if you get this wrong. So that's why I have written some possible actions. What you can do is you should read the rules properly. You should also, to avoid the kind of panic, or to avoid, the second point is very interesting actually. Organize the toolbox based on the priority of usage. Now, you might relate to this. You have ton of tools, ton of accessories, ton of, things like stationery, sharpener, eraser, this and that. And you will keep everything in one pouch. That final moment of exam, you cannot even imagine the kind of state of mind you will be in. And in that case, if your toolbox is completely messed up with so many tools, and if you are every time searching for the particular tool, it's going to add to a lot of anxiety and restlessness. This also might create a lot of chaos. So organize your toolbox. I always recommend students to have at least two, pouches, where one pouch will become your priority pouch, where you will keep only limited tools which you know for sure that you are going to use it. Like pencils, keep three pencils, not more than that. Eraser, the sharpener, and let's say a couple of other things. This is going to be your priority toolbox. The second box will have all the extra additional elements like color pencils or all things you might require or you might like to do. So that is going to be your secondary toolbox. This is going to help you a lot. The third point is use smudge-free pencils. Now, I would recommend all of you to go to a good stationery shop and explore as many tools possible. So there are so many tools which are little expensive probably, but they are going to give excellent results. They are not going to smudge very easily. Here also be very mindful that some tools will have wax based material, and just confirm with your coordinator and all if the wax based materials are allowed to use in the exam paper or not. If not, then just stay away from them. Okay. Now, the second common mistake which I have seen a lot in students is that misinterpreting the question. Now, again, because it's a very panic moment, you are stressed about exam. If one question goes wrong, then your mental state has gone down. Now you are not able to focus properly, and so many things are happening at the same time. So many a times, what happens is you read the question in such a hurry that you will lose out on some important aspects of the question. Like, for example, if you have been asked this question that design a product not having these things, and in that moment of panic, if you forgot or ignored not part, you will read design the product having these things, and whatever you will design after that, it is going to be exactly opposite of what they have been asking you to do. So this is very commonly happening mistake in the design exams. I have seen these examples. So please read your question paper again and again. Also, students have tendency of missing some of the important things. Like in case of UCID exams, they will give you sketch this scenario, and then there will be a line separately written in another paragraph uh, from this point of view of this particular person. And many a times students will only read the first paragraph, second line they will ignore, and they will just sketch for the first paragraph, and they will sketch the wrong point of view. Again, this is gonna give you zero, a big zero in your exams. So what can be the possible actions? While reading your question itself, make this habit of highlighting or underlining some of the important things. This is going to help you focus better on the question. This is going to help you create a checklist of underlined elements. So when you are sketching, you are again and again going back and checking if this has been met, if that has been met, if all these requirements are ticked or not. And then you can also, if there are some particular things like point of view or numbers or not, you can circle them out. So it is gonna remind you or create a very specific kind of emphasis on that particular thing. Okay, you are not supposed to do this mistake, you are supposed to do this. So all these things you can do, and tick mark the pointers after finishing the sketch. You can just before. So basically what happens is people will start sketching one thing, and then they will end up rendering, shading, coloring, everything, and then they will not come back to the question to see if everything which what has been asked have been met or not. So what you can do is you can tick mark. So once you complete the sketch, before going for rendering or shading, you can tick mark all the underlined things. This is gonna make sure that whatever you have sketched, it's properly met, the requirements have been properly met. The third common mistake is poor time management. Now, I can guarantee at least 99% of you have this problem of time management. So many students, even though they have excellent skills, even though they have practiced a lot, they know what to answer in the question paper and everything, they will end up leaving few questions because of the poor time management. There are many commonly done mistakes, like they spend, so first question is their favorite question, they will start sketching, and they will spend almost 1 hour only on that particular sketch, and then they will realize now they have to complete the remaining question paper in a very short amount of time. This is a very common scenario. So the possible actions, what I felt, what I feel you can do is, you can have this habit of going through the entire question paper before starting the sketching, and you can have a roughly mental calculation of how much time is available for individual question. Let's say the total number of marks are 100 and there are 10 questions. So basically, uh, and you have to complete that entire thing. So each question is for 10. There are 10 questions, and let's say there are 100 minutes given to you. So individual question has only 10 minutes. So that should be your mental calculation, and you should have your analog watch in front of you where you will track very consciously if you are able to complete, or if you are completing all these questions in 10 minutes each or not. If you are not completing it, then you can increase the speed. If you are comfortably completing it, then you can do it properly. Also, what I recommend you guys to have this parallel kind of approach of attempting questions. What do I mean by that is, not every question is going to require shading and coloring. So what you can do is, you can leave coloring rendering part in the end. So what you can do is you can start question by question where you are completing only line sketch. And once you have completed all the questions with the line drawing, then you can go back to individual question and see how you can enhance the sketch by rendering or shading or coloring, etc. And this is going to give you a better hold of the time, because you have, let's say, spent almost most of the time for the line work drawing, and now only 10 minutes are left. Now you know that you don't have time to render all the questions. Then you can very consciously, very wisely, you can choose which question to choose for rendering and shading. This is going to make sure that your entire question paper is complete. I have seen so many students who have really good skills, but didn't attempt the entire question paper ended up scoring lesser compared to the guys who had very average kind of skills but completed the entire question paper. This is a very common scenario. If you ask any design coach, any faculty, they will tell you this. So completing your question paper in given time, attempting all the questions is very, very, very important. I can't stress more than this, but this is absolutely crucial for your increasing the chances of getting into NIT. Then you can also think about your strengths and weaknesses, and you can strategize the sequence of questions based on them. For example, uh, if you're if you're attempting a UCID exam, or let's say NID undergrad exam, where poster designing is there and human sketching is also there, and one is really good in poster designing but really bad in human sketching. You can focus more on getting the poster design complete very well, very fast, so you can leave a lot of time for your human sketching, and that is going to make sure that both the questions are getting equal attention, they are getting equal sort of value at the end. The worst thing you can do in your exam is that every question is going to have a very decreasing level of quality. So first question, beautifully done, everything absolutely great over there. Second question, the quality is going down. Third question, even worse. Fifth question, incomplete. So this is going to leave a very bad impression on examiner's mind. He's going to think that you are really unprofessional in a way, and you don't know how to manage your time. That's going to leave a very bad impression on an examiner's mind. So don't do that. Okay. Now the third common or the fourth common mistake is getting panicked in the exam hall. Many a times people end up going late to the exam, and they are so panicked, they are so already in sweat, they are so confused, okay, where to sit, what to do, where is my hall number, and all those things. And in that panic moment, they end up going or reaching to the exam hall. There they get the exam paper, they don't have now time to go through rules and regulation, they'll immediately start attempting all the questions. Now, being a creative exam and creative process, it's absolutely important to have a very peaceful, calm, composed, and a very fun-oriented mindset while attempting these questions. Otherwise, your mind won't give or won't throw a lot of creativity in your exam. So that's why I recommend you guys to, make sure that you are carrying all the essentials. There should not be any scope for creating a panic or, confusing state for yourself. So essentials like ID cards, your favorite pencils, the sharpeners and erasers, all the essential stationaries and things like that. Watch, for example, make a list of these things and make sure that you are carrying all these things no matter what. Reach the exam hall well before time. If you are reaching, there are so many things which can happen in a metro city, like traffic and things like that. So take into consideration of all these things. I have this habit of whenever I have an important appointment, I make sure that one day before, I will try to go there and just to get the understanding of how much time it's going to take, what kind of road, transport, everything is there. So, it gives me a very good idea that what is going to happen or what are the possible things, worst things can happen on the, important day. And you can take into all those considerations and you can leave pretty early. You can reach the exam hall on time, and that is gonna make sure that you are at a very peaceful mindset, which is gonna create a lot of creative insights and creative ideas while attempting all these question papers. Now, this is, I hope everybody is with me together. Anushka,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes,
everything is
yes.
going fine, right? Audio,
Yeah,
video. Okay.
absolutely. Like I was actually noting down all the points you were saying.
I actually recommend all of you to do this because these are the things which literally no coaching class is going to teach you.
And this kind of comes from experience as well. Like you know it once you've done it.
Exactly. And when you meet so many students over the time, you kind of see or the kind of common patterns.
Yeah.
And it's very disheartening, when a person, see, there are two cases. If a person who doesn't have any passion for designing, who doesn't know how to sketch, who is there just to have fun and not serious about all these exams,
Mhm.
if that guy ends up getting lesser marks in the exam, he's not going to feel bad, his faculty is
Yeah.
not going to feel bad. But if someone with very good potential, very high potential,
Mm.
and if that person is gonna mess up in the exam, and because of some stupid things, if
Yeah.
his or her chances are getting reduced, no, it's very disheartening. It's very
Yeah.
painful. So
This is a creative exam, but there are rules. There are
yeah,
rules you have to follow.
oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yes.
So okay, because we have little less amount of time, I thought along with these common mistakes, I'll cover two, three more things, which is gonna, increase or raise the bar exponentially. So,
Okay.
so being an examiner myself, I have, checked so many exam papers till now. So I know the kind of psychology of the examiner is while checking these exam papers.
Okay, we are getting the behind the scenes now.
You can say that, okay. So what happens is, no, you can imagine a person who is going to have like this bunch of exam papers in front of him, and he has like really limited amount of time. Now he has the answer sheet, he has the question papers, and he literally has a very short span of time to judge every student and
Mm.
every exam paper, every question. He is going to check only, couple of checkpoints. If they are meeting, then I'm interested. If they are not meeting, I'm not interested. I'm going to give little, very little marks, and I'll move to the next question. So what you have to do is you have to spoon feed the examiner. You have to respect examiner's time. You have to understand that the examiner has very little, amount of time to check your exam paper. So you have to really make everything so easy for him that when he's seeing your attempted question, he is gonna absolutely understand in a glance that what you have attempted, what is your idea, what are the innovative things you have put in this particular question. All those things he should get like this, and in couple of seconds he should be able to understand what you have done. Now, there are so many things you can do, but I have written down few things which is gonna help a lot, and this is gonna, you know, uh, what you say, raise the bar for your own, exam paper, the question paper. Okay, this is gonna,
This is some good stuff here right now.
yeah,
Guys,
I'll
note down
note down
anywhere.
that. Okay, so spoon feed the examiner. So what I have understood is the titles help a lot. So whenever you have some design attempted, the titles are gonna help like extraordinarily. Okay, so for example, if you have designed a coffee machine which looks like a fridge and there is no title written to it, I am gonna get very confused. I think you guys can also relate with this. Uh, because this is a creative thing and your sketching might not be that great, and it might happen that there can be so many confusing messages which can be given unknowingly through your sketches. So titles help a lot. They convey the idea and the thought very quickly. It also shows professionalism and the sincerity, because this is an additional incentivized kind of things which you are providing it to examiner. And use little bit nice bold fonts which is gonna create a very distinctive kind of appeal compared to your all sketchy material which is there. You can also use boxes, you can underline, you can use hatching, just to make it look like a title. Now, I have, these are not my sketches, but I have picked some examples from Google itself. You can see here, giving a title is gonna give a lot of clarity. Now, imagine this final, coffee for me kind of a panel, and if this title is not there, it's gonna become extremely difficult to understand what is it you know but the
Yeah, yeah.
moment you read that coffee for me, there is no confusion about that this is a coffee machine and this is gonna be kept at the home. So all these things are very clear, so titles are gonna help you a lot, especially the examiner. The second one which is gonna help is the description. So along with the title, so you can just give like couple of lines which is going to talk about the design. And again, the description can be long, and it can be, it will be in a paragraph format. So even, so to make it even more easier for the examiner, what you can do is you can highlight few important words. This is very similar to what you do while studying a very complicated kind of what do you say, description or essay or history and all. No, when you have like so many things to remember, then you will highlight few things, and when you're revising it, you can just focus on these 4 5 words, and you will understand what you had studied and what you are going to remember. So that kind of things, you can also do it here. So when, and also you can have a very crisp and compact sort of interesting framing of the sentences. Like this is a very good example I felt, that Peter and Elizabeth took a taxi to attend the night party in the city. While in the party, Elizabeth collapsed and was rushed to the hospital. Now, this is a very complicated and a big sort of sentence, but you can just make it very compact and you can say Elizabeth was hospitalized after attending a party with Peter. Now, this one compact sentence is providing the entire gist of the story. So all these things you can also do. Now, another thing what you can do is you can give an engaging caption. Like again, coming back to the same example, that coffee for me. If you think about this poster particularly, the title has given an indication that this is something related to coffee machine. Then the caption is like premium house coffee designed for you. So it's a personalized coffee which you can keep it at home. Now, just coffee for me and premium house coffee designed for you, just these two things, the title and the caption, is going to cover the entire idea behind this, complicated project. This is going to make examiner's life so easy. He's going to feel so professional. Like he's going to get very good professional vibe from you, that he's gonna uh, like feel good about this entire attempt, and it's gonna get reflected in your marks. I think I'm able to convey this part, but it's absolutely very
Yes,
important.
yes, yes, yes. It's
Yeah,
like that you grasp the attention, right? Through that,
you
just it,
correct,
and it kind of creates a narrative, which, like you said, it's becomes makes everything easy.
correct. So it makes very easy for everyone, and I think that's why I gave these examples, which is gonna make it very relevant to understand as well. And the final thing which helps a lot in product design assignments is that you can always have these pop-ups. Nobody has time to read the sentences or everything. If you have these pop-ups or these kind of, small words or key highlights of the product design, this is gonna give a very direct kind of a message or convey the idea very effectively without taking a lot of efforts. Right. So I highly recommend you guys to go to Behance.com. That's a very popular website where professional designers from all around the world upload their portfolios. Just a disclaimer, don't get overwhelmed by it. The intention is not to compare yourself with them, because they are all professional designers. But the intent is to understand, all the nitty-gritties, and develop that consciousness, that what is gonna make your work stand out in the crowd of thousands of questions and papers over there. So I highly recommend to you guys to go to Behance.com and see all the portfolios over there. The third thing, which is very important, is being unique. As I clearly explained earlier as well, this is not an engineering exam or the board exam. Here, delivering common things is not going to take you anywhere. You have to be unique. You have to stand out. You have to play, beyond your comfort zone. You have to play beyond your safe, boundary line. So all the safe ideas, just stay away from it. Try to be more creative, try to be more radical, innovative. And if you think for a second that, okay, this thing is, you have seen it somewhere and you are just trying to put it there because you have that tendency कि किसको पता लगेगा, मैंने तो देखा है इतने सारे examples पढ़े हैं. But trust me, the guys who are in design field, who have spent like tens of years in the design industry, they're going to know, or they're going to understand in a glimpse, that if this is your own idea or not. So it's going to be very, very important to put or create that uniqueness or innovativeness in your question paper. And this is also very important. Very smart thing which you can do is subtly over deliver. And what it does is, like, for example, there is a question that there was a question, I think, in NID question paper where the question was, you have to come up with innovative ways to use a hammer. And only 5 were asked. And the people who gave, and the space was like a lot. So then the students who have given more than 5 ideas obviously had an advantage over the competition. It's all, this is a creative exam, this is all subjective, the marking is also subjective. The examiner is not gonna check 1 2 3 points like your board exams and give you marks. This is gonna be the test of your own creativity. This is gonna be the test of your own passion and how dedicated and how committed you are to the process of design. All these things are very important for an examiner to convince him that you deserve this place in this particular college. So it's very important to uh, create that bonus elements here and there. So that's why. So deliver little bit more than what has been asked, and do it very subtly. Like, if even if they haven't asked for the title, give the title. Even if they haven't asked for a very nice composition, give the nice composition. If they have asked only for two options, if there is a space, give third option. If they haven't asked for any sort of usage for the product, show that thing. And this is going to give a very good impression and leave a very lasting impression on the examiner's mind. Just one disclaimer: while doing this, don't risk the time management. I'm saying all these things should happen at the end, so you complete it. You have that parallel approach. I think in one of the questions somebody has asked this, that how to attempt the questions. So if you have this habit of attempting questions parallelly, this is going to help a lot, I feel. So first complete line drawings of all the questions, then come to the rendering part. Then also you have time limited, like remaining, then you can over deliver very subtly. And then this is going to make sure that all the questions have been attempted with the same effort. They have the similar kind of quality, and they are complete. So I feel
Yeah.
that parallel kind of thing works a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And the last but not the least, don't ever forget that design is problem solving. Don't focus too much on styling part of it, because we are, inherently artists. We have this habit of losing the track of time when we are sketching. Just don't do that,
Yeah.
because we are not an artist. We are aiming for the designer, and designer is someone who is gonna create innovative solutions and not
Mm.
create beautiful renderings. So,
Correct.
so just be sure that you understand this part.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely. I think there's this one point I wanted to check back with you
Yeah.
was when you mentioned about the over delivering part, because I think this might be only possible in the case of NID, where
Hmm.
it's a little more open ended and they actually are looking to see what you can come up with and what more you can add.
Right.
But like I think in seed and UC they have it's a little more strict with in the terms of that they give you the point of evaluation and then they also tell that please do not make surroundings or points
Yeah.
like that.
Correct. Correct. So you are absolutely right. So you said they are very specific about the requirements. They literally have one by one points, mentioned that what you have to do. But there also, given the limitations, like within the limitations, you can always over deliver very subtly. For example,
Yeah.
if there is a question of sketching a shopping mall from the first floor, from this angle and that angle, something like that,
Mm-hmm.
there also you can give little bit attention to detail. You
Correct.
can have, uh, a nicely details shops or some kind of activity, or for example,
Mm.
people gathered with this escalate, like in front of the escalator. Or you can
Mm-hmm.
have these sort of things which are very minor observations, but which is going to create a very lasting sort of impression. Because
Yes.
imagine a, because now it's a very strict limited kind of constrained question.
Mm.
Everybody's going to answer the same thing. you know
Mm-hmm.
so imagine if, after seeing like 100 question papers, if the examiner comes across a question paper where that same thing is sketched along with one additional or two additional bonus elements, and
Yeah.
he's gonna get impressed. He's gonna get very impressed with the kind of efforts this guy or girl has put. So that's why.
Mm.
So disclaimer is, don't risk your time management. Don't risk going beyond whatever has been asked. Don't risk disqualifying in any way.
Yes.
But within the constraints, within the given sort of things, if you can deliver little bit more than what has been asked, it's going to create a very lasting impression.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think
So
that's key, right? I think
yeah.
someone had mentioned that these exams are not about selections, they're more about rejections, like the papers that you reject and then you end up.
Yeah, yeah, can't, as in, I think it's absolutely true. It's completely valid. And and so basically these are the points I wanted to tell. There's also, because when I was reading all the questions asked by people, I understood that there are so many aspiring automotive designers are there who are attending this session. So because there are still some 15 days left for this. So if you guys want a very specific focused kind of webinar for transportation design, because the question paper is entirely different from the normal regular question papers. So if you want that, just uh, message me on my Instagram, okay, and just tell me that you want this workshop or something like that. I'll try to create a very small short webinar on a weekend where I can talk about all the nitty-gritties which are involved with the automotive design preparation. So you can do that. Always I am available to answer your queries on Instagram. These days it's getting a little difficult to answer everyone's query, but if you tag me in your story or something like that, I'll try to, get back to you as much as possible. And I think, as Anushka explained earlier, I also run a design podcast, which is, I think, very helpful for the aspiring students, especially, where you'll get to understand all the behind the scenes actions and the efforts and things which most of these, stories are going to be very, very inspiring and they will help you in some way or other. So just connect with me. If you are already following me, just let me know if you need a session on automotive design. Yeah, with this, yeah, that's all from my side. If Anushka, if you want to add something, or we can go to the questions, what was asked by the students.
Yeah, I think we can take up some questions. Maybe you
Hmm.
can, if there are any questions specific to automotive design, you can take those as well, because in your presentation, you have like in depth gone through the mistakes that we should not do. So I hope everyone has noted it down, because this was a gem of a session. So
I hope it helps uh,
yes,
in some way
yes,
or other.
yes,
So,
absolutely.
okay, we have like 10 minutes left.
Yes,
So
yes.
what we can do is we can just take a couple of questions here. Uh, I think the first question has been already asked, that doing like which approach is better, doing the questions one by one or doing all the questions and then having that parallel kind of approach. The second question is very interesting. So Anshika is opting for automobile design for masters, and she has some questions. What are the types of question asked in the exam for automobile design? What are the types of sketches should I focus on? Example sketches of cars, bikes, or try types of automobiles, human drawing. Okay. When compared to other streams, what number of students apply for automobile design? Is the competition tough? Uh, please, can you share PYQ for automobile transportation? And in aptitude, should I focus more on? Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. This question is from Anuj, actually. Anuj
Yeah.
Halemani. Okay. So, so many questions. So because we haven't touched upon automobile design specifically. So, I think the competition is tough for every discipline. There's no confusion about it, because all like the awareness for design has gone up. So definitely there is competition, but I
Yeah.
feel everybody can, opt for these exams, and they will not even imagine, but they might have the potential to crack these exams. So that is one thing. Second thing is, what type of questions are asked in automobile transportation. So transportation design, at least in NID exams, they ask very discipline specific questions, like sketch a car inspired from these things. You might be given some inspirations and you have to take inspiration from one of those images and create or design a car. Or there can be some kind of guess questions, like very small snippet of a big vehicle or a motorcycle might be given, and they might ask you that guess the vehicle. Or they might ask you to design something related to public transport or some specific necessity, like design an ambulance or design uh, a personal mobility which can accommodate with the public transportation network which is there. So all these type of questions can come. I remember in my, I think, IDC exam, I think UC seed exam, um, one question was that design a bus stop. Uh, I don't remember if that was NID or seed, but design a bus stop for a crowded metro city. And you know I think the brief was very generic, but there are so many things. And if you don't have the first-hand experience of traveling in a bus or a public transport, it's going to be almost impossible. So there are so many things which come under the umbrella of automobile and transportation design. So what you can practice is definitely practice sketching cars, motorcycles, and also I recommend you to keep checking or start your day with one of the favorite auto journalism website like Power Drift or Autocar or something like that. You know, so at least unconsciously some things will get registered in your mind. So like proportions and the details and the kind of brands which are there. Many times they might ask you to sketch logos of some popular car brands, and if you have this habit of checking all these websites, so somewhere you will be noticing all these small details. So all these things will help you a lot. PYQ I don't have, but I think I pretty much covered the kind of questions which can come. Then there is a question from Rohit. What kind of questions? I already answered. Bachelor's, how to study for Part A NID the right way in the remaining 16 days. So Part A, Anushka, correct me if I'm wrong. The Part A is the general knowledge thing, right?
Yes, is
Right.
the
So
aptitude test.
aptitude test, right?
Yes.
So I think there's no particular method to prepare for this, but I think uh, as in I shot one podcast with the seed rank one, all India rank one, and his name is Sudesh, and he was telling me this very interesting thing that he subscribed to all the UPSC channels on YouTube, and
Interesting.
what they used to do is they used to cover all the commonly happening things in the
Mm.
world and in
Current
India,
affairs.
current affairs and things like that. And because it's a very general knowledge kind of things, and because it's a YouTube, uh, it was entertaining. And I
Mm.
think he used to play some video and then keep on sketching in front of the screen, something like that. So that helped him a lot. That's what he said.
Mm.
And one more thing, what you can do is that auto journalism website, especially for whatever the stream you are in. Let's say if some graphic designer is there, he or she can follow some graphic design website. If somebody's product designer, then you can follow things like Yanko Design, designboom.com and things like that. Behance is going to help you a lot. Behance पे आप जाके ना you can put your stream and you will see like thousands of portfolio, and that is also going to give you a lot of knowledge or the things about your particular discipline. Okay. Shivanshi is
Absolutely.
okay. Sarah is asking how to study. Okay, the same thing. Shivanshi is asking for bachelor's. How can one make neat sketches? Okay, I can stop sharing the screen actually.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, my screen is not visible now,
No.
so my face might be visible.
Yes, yes. We can
Okay.
all see you.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, so Shivanshi is asking, how can one make neat sketches within limited time? These exams provide. Neatness is something that I struggle with. So first thing, which I already said, use better tools, use smudge-free pencils, and also have very clear sort of line weight. So I can't tell you how, but one of the things is that have a sense of gravity. So when I mean line weight, no, imagine you are sketching with three pencils, like H, let's say 1B and let's say 4B. So 4B being the darkest, you will leave it for the end. You start sketching with very light H pencil and just create a sort of construction lines, which will give the overall structure or the base or the foundation for your sketch. Once you have the confidence in whatever you want to sketch, you can go to 1B pencil where you will darken it a little bit. And then you will go to the 4B pencil where you will give or create a sense of gravity. So wherever, so for example, if I'm, if you are looking at my face right now, the light is coming from this side. The shadow is gonna, and obviously the shadow is gonna be at the bottom because light is coming from my top side. So you might be able to see that this is the area where you'll be using 4B. This is the area, because it's here, you will obviously use darker pencil, but I'm saying if any object, if you are seeing, you will see that, for example, let's say if this is this keyboard, you will see this is going to catch a lot of light. So you will leave all the light pencil here. The darker pencil can be left for the shadow element. So the idea is to give or create a sense of gravity by using different line weights. What it will do is it will not darken the entire paper. It will not create a lot of messiness. It will create a lot of visibility for the shapes you want to focus on. So, so explore with line weight. You can go to YouTube and see how you can play with line weight. I think on my YouTube, very old videos are there. You can go and check them also. But yeah,
Absolutely.
those things we can do. Then Anushka, there's a question from you.
Yeah.
I have noticed that while solving mock test, NID part B, which is the sketching thing, I tend to spend 30 minutes on the first question, no matter what type of question it is. That sometimes causes rush. I think I already answered during
Yes.
the session, right? So yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. It.
Okay, then there is Samidha. I'm a bachelor student keeping NID in mind. How could GK covered? I think already I answered. UPS thing. There's another one cool thing which Sudesh talks about in his podcast. The another thing, see, Sudesh is someone who didn't go for any design coaching. Okay, so whatever he prepared by his own intuition. So he figured out his own methods of preparing for GK, sketching, and everything. So one of the cool things he was doing is he would take the newspaper and he will sketch everything which is there. So all the pictures and everything, the celebrity pictures and all. He will take one sketch pen and he will trace them down. So what it used to do
Hmm.
is it used to do two things for him. One, it built a really good muscle memory for the human proportions and different scenarios and perspective and things like that. The second thing what it did was, because he was sketching something, he would obviously notice the highlights, the headlines of the
Hmm.
newspaper. So it unknowingly gave him what is going on in today's world.
Quite
So
interesting. It's
yeah,
like passive learning.
yeah, it's passive learning. And you know it's like, because you are sketching also, you're not getting bored as well, because when
Hmm.
you open a newspaper you will see so much of write up over there. You will end up just reading one or two news and then you
Yeah.
will leave it off. So this was very pretty interesting, and that's why I am saying that if you guys are I recommend two podcasts on our channel which are absolutely mind blowing. One is from, you said, All India Rank 1, Hriday Nanda. uh, he is he has cracked NID and IDC both. Now
Oh,
he's in
wow.
NID, and he talks about some of the crazy things which he did. And then there is Sudesh, who has done masters transportation design.
Hmm.
He is the topper over there. So both the episodes are really good. Okay, let's go to the next one. Samida is saying, how much is aim to score? So this is subjective. The score is subjective. Every time it can change, and every time based on the examiner and requirements, this is very subjective. Kriti Mukherjee is asking, for masters, there are questions on problem solving which involve making a new product as a solution. What are the things to keep in mind while solving such questions? Should we, what is there? Okay, how to, okay. What sort of answers are usually expected from examiners? Should we consider money and accessibility while come up with answers? Absolutely. This is a very interesting question, I guess. I think not just for masters, for graduate guys also. Um, Design is not just styling. Again, I want to stress on this point. Design is something where you are solving a problem. So if, let's say, if you are designing this keyboard, this keyboard is going to have a particular user in mind. This keyboard objective, this project brief is going to have a particular persona and his requirements behind, that brief. So once you understand that person, you can design it properly because you have all the constraints in place. If you don't have these things, it will be impossible for you to connect with the requirement and your solution. So it's very important to have that balance. And that's why if your brief involves some sort of costing or pricing or things like that, definitely money has to be considered. If it is going to be used by a variety of customers like children also and elderly people also, accessibility is also going to be absolutely important. So understand the intent behind your project brief. That is very, very important. Coming to the next question, how do we present, Radhika, how do we present answers for MDES SDM field? Because I have seen that questions require written content more. SDM is strategic design management. This is a very niche sort of field, and it's very interesting at the same time because it involves a very strategic thinking which is involved in design. So definitely, because it involves strategy and the research and the market understanding, all these things, definitely written content is going to help. But at the same time, as I said, because the examiner is going to have very little amount of time, think about it how you can create very exciting compositions which can convey the same amount of content but with lesser efforts. So search about what infographics are. Infographics are something which will convey a huge amount of information in a very crisp and compact and very interactive way. So that is, those things are going to help you a lot. We'll take one last question. There are so many questions. I think we won't be able to cover all of them, but let's take one last question. Mehul is asking, please recommend some good pencils. Okay, so my favorites are Faber-Castell and Prismacolor. I think, yeah. So are you able to see this?
Yes.
So this is basically Faber-Castell. They are polychromos. Just make sure that polychromos are wax based. So if they are allowed in the exam or not, just confirm this one thing. But other than that, they are absolutely amazing. It's a little costly. I think some 120, 150 bucks per pencil, I guess.
Oh yeah, polychromes, all of, no matter what brand, ends up at 150 per.
But see, like for final exam, I think you can spend another 500, 600 bucks on these pencils. This is
Are they smudge free?
because they are wax based, no, they are smudge free. So it
Okay.
won't leave a lot of, they're absolutely amazing. Actually, at least for your own trial sake, you can buy them and try it out. And then these are even more expensive pencil, Prismacolors. I think you don't get in India very easily. So
Yes.
forget about Prismacolors, but I think Faber-Castell, you can get it very easily. So that is very important question. One last question we'll take for delivering. There was a, okay, this is SS. For over delivering, there was a question where there were parts of a cycle drawn on the paper, and they said draw a complete bicycle. Should I draw a composition using it to get better marks, or for questions like 3, 5 unconventional usage of the product, and they have provided the same amount of boxes, can I show more than one sketches? I didn't understand this question completely.
There is like, I think in product or something, there's a kind of topic where they'll say, like, for example, a light bulb. Give 5 humorous unconventional uses of a light
Okay.
bulb, and then I think in if it's in NID, I think they'll already give you, like, if it's 5, then they'll give you 5 boxes to draw
Okay.
them in. So I think the question may be aimed at that, like, do you make another extra box somewhere?
So absolutely, I understood the question now. So if there are 5 boxes given, I think you don't need to create another box and create another example that is going to look over smart. It should not be like this. But if there are, because sometimes they don't give boxes and all, that time you can do this. But uh, but when you are sketching it, no, in the rough space given to you, you can name all the ideas which you have. Many a times examiners, we like to see what you have done in the rough area, because
Yes.
because we also want to understand your thinking process, your thought process. That is very important when it comes to design. So over there, if you have like written some, let's say, list of 10 ideas or 10 usage or something like that, and out of which you have chosen, like, let's say, seven, like five of them, let's say, that is gonna create a very good understanding of your own thought process for the exam. So yeah, I think with that we come to the final. I think we are done with the time also, we are done with the topics also.